Hi guys, Joe here, and welcome to 750 Gaming. In this one, I'm going to talk about stratagems and the pitfalls of adding flavour to game design. Now, I won't pretend to know everything about game design, but I have a bit of experience, and so just want to briefly enter the great and glorious debate about rules and game complexity and give my tuppence for what it's worth. So, I've been, and I think the term here is writing a game, but I could be wrong. It's likely designing, but let's blow through those semantics and just say making. I've been making a game. It's been in the works for over a year, and I actually started it as a task to make something simple and model agnostic, so I could essentially just find some miniatures my wife liked the look of, and encourage her to paint them up and play with them with me. That was the idea. Problem is, I'm one of those creative people who just keeps rolling with the idea when it happens, and so my game is no longer the simple model agnostic thing it coulda, woulda, shoulda been. What I probably should have done was just go to one-page rules and got her to play Age of Fantasy Skirmish. That's to say, a model agnostic, simplified and generalised take on Warcry. Though I'm sure there's a lot of hot water trouble there, and it's probably disparaging too, because keeping a game simple is really hard. So, kudos to those guys at OPR. But why is it hard? Well, because if you are creative and passionate about what you do, then the chances are you just want to do more of it. So when I got into designing the various rules of this game that I've made, and thinking about the context and the universe it happened in, well, I just couldn't help myself. I just kept wanting to give it more and more flavour, which meant thinking about and writing more and more backstory for the various factions and forces and units within my game and universe, which made me think deeper about the motivations for what was going on and why these armies were out here skirmishing in the first place. And then, because I'm a sucker for immersion and roleplay, the more flavour I wrote, the more I wanted it to exist in some form in the game. And so my factions and units got more and more flavourful actions and rules, and then the world, that's to say the battlefield and the battle itself, got more and more flavourful, and so there were more stages to the gameplay, and yep, you guessed it, more rules. And then I stopped and thought, wow, this is cool. But I also thought, wow, this is so not what I started out trying to create. I'll do a video on that at a later date, but it leads me on to my first tabletop gaming love, and that's this behemoth that is Warhammer 40K, and I imagine you kind of know where I'm going to go with this. The whole point of this 750 thing was to kind of cherry pick the rules a little bit, do 40k light, because, life is busy and plastic ain't cheap, because sometimes I want to play 40k properish, as opposed to Kill Team or Necromunda or Grimdark Future or Firefight, etc. But I don't want to spend 2 to 3 hours playing, plus a bazillion hours and bazillion pounds collecting and painting a 2,000 point army. So my idea was to play 40k, but in a way I could save time, energy and money. And it's great. And I love doing it that way. And it's very, very refreshing. Especially considering how complex 40k is in 9th edition and how much rules bloat exists. It's a commonly heard argument from most people playing the game, unless of course it's your passion to really dive into it and try and break the game with a new meta that will win you big at competitive tournaments. But maybe I'm doing the guys at Games Workshop a disservice here. Because, you know what? I think I get it. You know all those faction and army traits and special rules and stratagems? At its heart, I genuinely think it's all about flavour. You've got a bunch of guys and girls sitting in design studios getting excited about the backstories of these miniatures and armies that they're creating. I mean, look, you've got the entire black library to give colour to these grey bits of plastic. And then you've got that creative headache of what we can do to bring some of those tasty bits to the game so that everyone can enjoy all that fluff and stuff on the tabletop itself. You've got some Space Marine lovers working out how they can make playing those super soldiers feel a bit more super soldiery. You've got greenskin fans writing more and more stuff to make their passion projects more fun on the table, writing flavoury stratagem after flavoury stratagem. Like, this Space Marine can do this action because he's a super soldier. Well, yeah, of course, he should be able to do that. He's a Space Marine. This Necron guy can get back up after he's died because he's a frickin' living robot. Well, yeah, of course. Have you not watched Terminator? These Chaos guys acquire ridiculous skills and abilities at the whim of a godlike entity in the warp because they worship him. Well, yeah, duh. And these guys have crazy weapons from long ages past because they are grumpy space dwarves who have spent the last few millennia mining for fun materials and being ruthless traders of exotic and powerful antiquities. Sure. Oh, and of course anything is possible for orcs because they are weirdly powerful beings who manifest reality out of their belief it could happen. Lovely stuff. But before you know it, you've then got everyone pulling their hair out because they've got so much juice to fit into an ever-expanding rule set. And some rules are more powerful than others, and the customers are going crazy because someone thought of a more powerful bit of fluff for their army than someone else did, and it's a mess. A beautiful, beautiful mess. I think sometimes we forget about the beauty of creativity. We get so wrapped up in our consumerism that we actually forget to step back and just enjoy the creativity of other people. So, is it a good thing? Well, no, probably not, I guess. Not if you want a consistent game that's quick and easy to play with any models you choose. But I don't know, maybe if you aren't necessarily caring about winning, and all you really want to do is deep dive in and enjoy this ridiculously rich universe and lore sphere that some really, really creative and imaginative people have created, and then enact out some fantasy battle bit of roleplay with your toy soldiers, regardless of the result or who has the rule to end all rules sitting in their back pocket, then actually, all these rules are a good thing. But as I said previously in my 750 Gaming 101 video last time, just because there is all of this content doesn't mean you have to use it all. Pick and choose the flavours that you like, and dive in as deeply as you want to. In battles in 750 Gaming Land, we limit ourselves to 3 strats per side. You just need to look at what you've got on the table and pick the most thematic strat for those units, and how you'd expect them to play within the lore. For instance, with my Black Templars, which I play up as all-in-your-face psychotic space knights, I take the vicious riposte strat to give those dying brothers that final fanatically zealous death throw when in melee. And I take a Ball the Witch for on-brand psychic denial. For my vow, I always take accept any challenge. There are definitely times when it is not advantageous in the slightest, but I don't care, it's just a right laugh. When I use my Emperor's Children, the warlord trait I take on my Demon Prince is Unbound Arrogance. It buffs nothing, it nerfs nout. It's a random mini-game of bluff and chance, but fluff-wise, it's just fun and on point. It doesn't matter if it doesn't actually do anything, but you can use it to roleplay your Demon Prince as a magnificently arrogant duelist who's here for the sport of battle. And then strat-wise, I'll normally take excruciating frequencies to buff my Noise Marines, of course, amongst a few other little bits of flavour here and there. Flavour that's appropriate for this small army. Sure, if I had a massive 2,000 point plus army with one of every unit, and I was trying very, very hard to win the battle, then the chances are I'd try to squeeze in as much strat power as possible over the course of a battle round to improve my chances of victory. But then again, if that was the case, I'd probably be looking at the numbers and doing Math Hammer and Math Hammer alone, and not actually caring about what made sense thematically. So there you go, that's my little ramble about strats and faction traits and special rules. It all starts with passionate people who were told to go creative until it grows and grows wildly out of control to where somehow the focus shifts from being fun towards trying to break the game and win at all costs. And then it becomes a balanced nightmare with a highly bloated complex rule set that can appear hugely inaccessible and unappealing to the dipper-toe gamer. And that's just a real shame. Because there's beauty and source in all of it. Because let's be honest, if you just wanted a nondescript tabletop strategy game, then there are far simpler and more accessible ones out there to go play. I think the strength of 40k and what it owes its longevity to is founded upon the universe that surrounds it. I'm not interested in chess. It's the lore and the idea of playing out my own little stories with my toy soldiers that keeps me interested in this game and this hobby. And you know what? Those little bits of my guy would want to do or is able to do this because of this bit of backstory, yeah, I'm all for it. In moderation. We've heard a lot of rumours and supposed leaks about what 10th might look like, and I do hope it's simpler and streamlined and that the new codices are going to be slimmed down and all that, because that will help new gamers to want to play this thing, and will help us older folk who are tired and weary and busy to engage with it with a bit more ease. But I do hope they keep some flavour, because you know what? That's the fun bit. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Let's go! So I've done a few videos now here on YouTube, but as ever, life is busy, and this is just another bit of a fun outlet for me. As such, I don't have a regular content schedule, I just upload these whenever I have time to make and finish them. So if you want to follow along, then hitting subscribe is a great way to make sure you don't miss a beat, and it also lets me know that someone somewhere out there is enjoying this stuff. If you want more regular updates about the projects I'm working on, then come follow me on Instagram, where I post as often as I've done something. But hopefully, I'll see you next time.